Hello, I'm Chanel. This is Spirited Stardust, and today I am doing the hashtag Christmas Tree Tarot, which is a VR to Candy, Soil and Soul. So let's take a look at the prompts. The Dusty Attic deck. I don't have an attic. I have a little nook where I just keep a bunch of stuff. So I've got yarn, I've got cat food, I've got hot water bottles and heat packs. So this is my like dusty attic. So for the Dusty Attic deck, which is a deck that feels like a dusty attic full of treasure and secrets. And for that one, I chose the Dream Keepers Tarot. So these are the backs. This is a mass market deck. Now this one just looks like something you'd find in an attic. It is definitely got that dusty vibe. It's got a very vintage feel to it and look to it. It is full of secrets. This is more about the dreamscape. So it's sort of like the subconscious, the surreal. It's kind of creepy as well. I personally feel like anything that you find in an attic or a basement, or in my case, a very messy nook, is probably going to be a little weird, a little odd, you know, and this has that vibe to it. It's also quite dark and moody, and it feels like something that would be covered in cobwebs. You know, it's like you'd get it in a box of some deceased relative and you're like, wow, Aunt Lydia was a bit of a freak, hey? Like, she was a bit odd. Maybe there was something going on with her. And that's this deck to me. So my choice for the Dusty Attic deck is the Dream Keepers Tarot. The Christmas Tree deck. Tell me about a tarot structure that you love. So for the Christmas Tree structure deck, which is a tarot structure you love, my favorite tarot structure thus far is the Rider-Waite-Smith. So I've picked the Lovely Ladies Tarot for this because it just follows the Rider-Waite-Smith messaging. So with this one, you're not going to get any sort of like different interpretations. It's pretty much what it is in the RWS. So I find like any kind of deck that is very true to the traditional, I think is always good for a beginner to have. This one obviously has its own aesthetic, you know, they're kind of clones in terms of this is RWS, but that this might look a bit different than what you traditionally see in the original images. But yeah, I have tried, the only other structures that I've actually tried so far are Lenormand, which is obviously not tarot. I have just ordered a Marseille deck, so I'm going to be trying out Marseille. I have no interest in Thoth whatsoever. So I might have like ones that are similar, but I don't have any originals. I don't have an original RWS. I know that's probably heresy, blasphemy, because I think most tarot users have at least one traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I don't like the images. I don't like them. The closest thing that I have to that would probably be the Lucid Dreamers Beginner's Oracle, but I don't feel like it looks like the RWS. Yeah, I just don't like the imagery. It's not my cup of tea. That medieval kind of thing isn't for me. So I've just picked the Lovely Ladies Tarot for this prompt. So here we have the Tinsel Deck, which is a deck that you get wrapped up in and makes you forget about all other decks. Okay, so now we've got the Tinsel Deck, a deck you get wrapped up in, and using it can make you forget about other decks. And for me, I had to do the Begin Oracle. This deck is going to be a forever desk deck because I always want it out. And it is upside down. It's my fave. I just love it, even though it's redonkulously big and I struggle to shuffle it and it causes me pain. I just like it. I like the absolute kooky randomness of it. There is no like cohesive style or format in this deck. Even in the guidebook, each card has different things. They don't all have the same listings. Like, it's just very quirky. It's a quirky deck and I like it. Even though normally I don't like things that are very random, that don't have a proper structure and that are chaotic for some reason. when I'm feeling a little wild, I'll just pull this deck out, and it scratches that itch when I want something a little bit different, but that's comforting at the same time. It's very weird, but I really like the deck. I like the way it's written up, and I just always, it doesn't matter what card I get, I like it. So I know I'm always going to have a good time, because it's not a very, I wouldn't say it's positive or negative. It's very straight down the line. It's very neutral, I think. So yeah, for a deck that I'm always going to gravitate towards, and I think will be in my collection forever, it is the Begin Oracle. The next prompt is the Bauble Deck. So this is a deck that just keeps rolling around and you just keep going back to using it. Okay, so now we've got the Bauble Deck, a deck that keeps rolling around and turns up over and over in your practice as you reach for it all the time. It's very weird, but it is this one. It is the Wild Child Oracle. So those are the backs. It's probably I think it's the only poetry deck that I have. It's also the only oblong deck that I have. And every time I'm looking for like, oh, what do I feel like working with today? Sometimes I just grab this and I pull it out just because I just want to do a 1-card reading with it. And I love the artwork. I think it's really beautiful. The deck itself has a gorgeous rose petal feel as well. So it's a very sumptuous deck. It's a feast for the eyes. It's lovely for the senses. And like I said, it's got a poem, which is just different. It's not, a normal guidebook write-up divinatory meaning. So it's something that I get different things from each time as well, as the way it is with poetry. Different things resonate. You get different meanings each time you read the poem, depending on what phase of life that you're in. But yeah, this is just one of those, I just can't resist just pulling one card from it. If I open up my cupboard and everything's there, I'm just like, all right, let's do a little 1-card pull from this and read what it has to say today. But like I said, it's just beautiful. I just love to look at it. And it's just so quick and easy to use. You just pull a card and then read it and it's done. Like for instance, let's just read Mirage. It's the card that they used for the image on the book. So let's look at Mirage. Over the sand dune gleams a place of luscious verdure, but some destinations are not meant to be reached, however enticing they may seem. So yeah, this is one of those decks that I will just randomly pull out if I see it. As soon as I see it, I'm like, all right, let's just pull a card. And that is the Bauble Deck and the Wild Child Oracle. The Snowman Deck, a deck that melts your heart. For the Snowman Deck, it's a deck that melts your heart, and for me, it's always going to be the Witch's Cat Oracle. I freaking love cats, man. I'm a cat lady to the core, and this deck, for me, is a deck of familiars. So even if I didn't have cats in my real life, then I would always have cats here. I love the names of all of these cats. Here you got Seraphina, and then here's Lexi Puff. I just find it adorable. It's so whimsical. It's so magical. All of the cards are lovely. So this is one of those decks where you just want to have something comforting and something sweet. This is the one that you would pick up. It's a beautiful message. It's really gorgeous. Like, I absolutely love the artwork. I am always toying with just getting all of the other cat decks this creator has made and just doing a mega cat deck. The only thing that's stopping me is money. Always. It's always the case, right? But eventually, who knows, in the future, I probably will. I feel like it's inevitable. At some point, I will just buy all of their cat decks and have a mega cat deck. But at the moment, I'm like, you don't need that, but you want it. So yeah, this is definitely a deck that melts my heart. It softens me. Every time I look at these cats, I get into this very sweet, gentle energy, and I'm calmed and I am filled with love and tenderness. So for the Snowman deck, I have chosen the Witch's Cat Oracle. Okay, so for the next deck, it is called the Handmade Deck, a deck that's made extra special because of who made it, or a deck that feels particularly handmade. And for me, it's the Love of Spreads Oracle, because it was made by my internet friend Rochelle from Amethyst Ascension. So I just think it's so cool that you can have your friends' decks these days. Like, your friends can make something and then you can have it and you can use it, and every time you use it, you're reminded of them. So, and it's so handy. I have tried a lot of different ways of finding spreads. Like obviously I always do the spreads in books of certain decks, but I guess the main thing I did was go to Pinterest, but it's a pain and I hate going on my phone. So now I have a deck of spreads and it's so handy. So I keep it in my box of whatever decks I'm currently using. And if I want to do a spread, I do a shuffle and I pull a card, or like I said, if it's a certain time of the month, I will use those moon spreads to represent that. And I don't have to look anymore. It's all at my fingertips. So this was just like super functional for me. It came at a time where I was literally on the lookout for trying to find ways of accessing spreads that was convenient. I am a child of convenience. I need things to be easy. If there's too much of a resistance there, I won't do it. Like it has to be effortless. Otherwise it just puts me off and I'm like, no, it's too hard. I'm just not going to do it at all. Whereas so now this is like super easy and I just pull a thing and boom, I have a spread on hand. So this was the Handmade Deck and I chose my friend Amethyst Ascension's Love of Spreads Oracle. The Mistletoe Deck, a deck that makes you think about love in the festive season. So the next one, the Mistletoe Deck, a deck that makes you think about love in the holiday season. So I've chosen this because the bag, it's already festive. It's already Christmassy. This is the Fairy Magic Message cards by Sharon McLeod. The reason that I've chosen this one is because like it reminds me of Christmas. Okay, so that's the holiday season. And just, I don't know why, but red and white polka dots is very romantic to me. It's a very flirtatious kind of pattern. I just always think of things like Valentine's Day and Christmas, and both of those are very love fest filled holidays. It also reminds me of picnics. So going for a picnic in the park with your beloved. This is a fairy deck. So fairies to me also have a very mischievous, sometimes flirtatious kind of energy, depending on what kind of fairies you're thinking about. And by that I mean, if you read any fairies in fantasy fiction, they are quite amorous. They are quite sensual and definitely lovers, if you catch my drift. So book fairy, love it. So yeah, I just don't have many decks, to be honest, that are love themed. Like obviously I've got a few, but they're a bit they don't remind me of love in this holiday season. Let's just say that. So for the Christmas holiday season for love, I have picked the Fairy Magic Message cards. The next question is a Fairy Lights deck. So it's a deck that sparkles. And then we've got the Fairy Lights deck. So this is a deck that sparkles. And for me, like already, it's got the sparkly stars on the back. The original, when this is all in order, these are shimmering, sparkling stars. Honestly, the most beautiful edging that I have in my collection. And this is the Heartscape Tarot. I am obsessed with this deck, even though it is landscape, so I don't love that. But the cardstock is a beautiful matte. Every image on here is beautiful to me. Like even just like the Ace of Cups, that's just a teacup with flowers, but I just even love it. I can't, there aren't words to describe. This deck sparkles to me because it just makes me so goddamn happy. And like I said, every single card, doesn't matter what the card is, I'm like, I like it a lot. It is very cool. It is very intriguing. There is a lot of variety also in this deck, so it's not a particular theme. And I love that because it makes it very interesting and it makes it, each card is unique. It's its own world. This is very much one of those decks that I could definitely do path working with. Like I can put myself in this visage and feel the energy of that card. But it's also got this just like sweet, childlike energy to it as well. It's very fairy tale-esque. It's very magical to me. There's also just images of the mundane, of the domestic. So it's just got this combination of everything. And I find the pictures very evocative. Like I have an emotional and visceral response to them. There's literally not a single card in this that I don't like. I don't think I've ever had a deck where, okay, I've just said that, but I'd say, all right, there's one card. There is one card that I don't love. I don't hate it though. I don't hate it. I just don't like it. So, okay, there is one card. It's a clown, okay? I don't think I will ever like a picture of a clown. But every other card, even the more, like, I guess you'd call this like the boring ones, I like them. They're all little pieces of art, and it makes me so happy. And I could just sit here all day, literally just going through the cards. Every time I take this deck out, I have to sit there and I have to go through every card. It feels wrong for me to take this deck out and not show my appreciation for every card of the deck. Like, every card has to be seen. But yeah, it's one of my favorite all-time decks. But like I said, there's only one card I don't like in there, and that's rare. That's rare, guys. So for the Sparkle deck, I have chosen the Heartscape Tarot. The next question is the Tree Topper deck. So a deck that reminds you of your tree topper. Okay, and for the final prompt, we've got the Tree Topper deck. Tell me about your tree topper and find a deck that reminds you of it. So as you can see already, like, look at this box, bro. It looks like my shiny star tree topper. And it's the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum Infinity Edition. I won't show it to you because this is just going to reflect back my phone, but you cannot get a shinier, honestly, like that looks like a shiny metallic star. But it's also got a very cosmic star energy to it. This was the very first deck too that I purchased that did not have a guidebook. Just like that star was the very first tree topper that I ever purchased. I've never purchased another one. I just don't ever feel the need to replace it. I feel like it's perfect for the top of the tree. I do prefer silver to gold with my Christmas decorations. Like, as you saw from my tree, it's white. It's predominantly white and silver. Those are the decorations. I just wanted it to always like go with the decor. It's not complete. I had a few baubles break, so I have to go and replace those baubles. So yeah, my tree isn't completely decorated yet, but this deck definitely reminds me of my tree topper because I also just like it. I like this deck just like I like my tree topper. I think it's kind of cool. It's modern. I feel like my star is quite a modern star. It's kind of basic, but it's also got some embellishments. You know, it's simple, but it's got bling. And I feel like the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum also has that energy. So this was the Christmas Tree Tarot Tag by Candy, Soil and Soul. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.